I remember I was talking to my friend about, different things that was happening and people saying, well, why I don't want to do that or get into that as far as going into multifamily route. And she would say, well, that doesn't mean you don't do it. As you're gaining knowledge and eventually it'll get easier in some areas. And then as you're expanding, you're growing, you're going to learn other things. And that's the whole point of building wealth, building a legacy, especially if you're the first one to do it. It's always going to be a learning curve. It's always going to be challenges. That doesn't mean you don't.
Hmm.
You just meet the challenges and push forward. So that is my goal, to build generational wealth of people that come after me. And I have to take the good and the bad, the challenges and the easy stuff as well.
Welcome to the Share the Wealth Show, where minority professionals can learn to escape the racial wealth gap and catapult themselves into abundance. Your host, Nicole Pendergrass, grew her net worth from being negative to multiple six figures. Join her on her investigative mission to expose secret strategies of the wealthy so we can all have the tools needed to build the life and legacy we were created to possess. Now it's time for the show.
Hey guys, so we're back again. This is the second part of the episode with today's guest. I need you, if you have not heard part one, go back to the previous episode and listen to that first, and then come back and join us here today. You need to hear the whole conversation. This is why we split into two parts. There's so many nuggets. It's so juicy. Go back and listen to the first part.
Oh,
Wait. Now I'm upset. You was able to get CitiFEPS payments direct deposited?
yes. Yep, it's direct.
How?
It's like a form you have to fill out.
I know all about it. I've tried to do all the things and they keep saying it's blocked because it's only open direct deposit through the app is only available to a certain small limited amount of people. And you came in a couple of years after I had CitiFEPS. I don't understand how you got direct deposit. I'm still getting checks in the mail.
They told me that it would take 30 days from the initial me submitting the application, and it really did take 30 days. And I think
All right.
I bounced back because I didn't fill out one thing. So if it's not filled out completely, like everything has to be filled out,
Nah.
they bounce it back.
You need to send me this application and then I'm going to fill it out and then you look at it and tell me all the stuff that I didn't fill out that's going to make it bounce back because this is ridiculous. I didn't have CitiFEPS tenants for 3 years.
Yeah.
Why can I not get a direct deposit? That's ridiculous. And the HRA is basically the shelter allowance portion. Yeah, because I have a couple of tenants with shelter allowance and I didn't know that checks were going to be coming from two separate places and two separate departments. And you talk to one department, they don't know what's going over this department. And it's just it's insanity.
I was able to get direct lines, but sometimes one is responsive, but if that person goes away or something like that, then it's a give and take of who's going to take over during that time period. So I was lucky for the most part to have conversation.
Yes. All right. I also need your agent. And I'll be like, can you give me some connections to the HRA? Shelter allowance part.
Helpful. And also the workshop I told you about, he's very helpful as well about letting you know about the current laws for tenants. I mean, for both tenants and landlords, but he's more advocating for the landlord.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I need to get, so look, this podcast has turned into a personal therapy session with tenants. But guys, just if you're listening, we're dropping tips actually of all the things you need to think about when you are working with any kind of voucher program, whether you're in New York City and use CitiFEPS or if you work with Section 8 or any of the other ones, because they literally all have the same underlying structure and issues. And it's just about you. I think the biggest tip for any of them, no matter what voucher you decide, if you want to house voucher tenants, is making sure you find a person to connect to within the voucher program, whoever works in the voucher department of whatever industry it's in or whatever company or whoever runs it. Find a person, find somebody's desk number, somebody's personal email. Don't just keep calling the general number because that's not going to get you anywhere soon. So at the very beginning, I did run around to a couple different buildings. So I found somebody, which I did for what's it called? The building. It's not called CityWorks. It's something works, wage works, or not wage works, one of them, and whatever the industry or the department is called that handles the CitiFEPS payments. I do have somebody there, but I don't have anybody on the shelter allowance side with HRA. So anyway, guys, this is all these acronyms and stuff. HRA is what's it? Human Resource Administration, right?
I want to agree with you, but I can Google it.
I think it is, and that they have joined and do have partnership with CitiFEPS, which is about housing homeless individuals and getting people out of the shelters. So yeah. Anyway, okay. So anything else about the process, and what about you? What's your goals with all this? Why even go through these headaches and the pros and the cons? We know the cons are really frustrating. They sound all easy breezy right now because you're looking all nice with your nice background and your tulips and all this stuff, like make it look like everything is easy breezy. But I know these cons be kind of people get on your nerves. So why go through all of that? For this duplex, dealing with the program that took you through so many hoops, dealing with the tenant vouchers that like take you through so many hoops, what's the purpose?
Right. So I would pose, well, why not? I remember I was talking to my friend about, different things that was happening and people saying, well, why I don't want to do that or get into that as far as going into multifamily route. And she would say, well, that doesn't mean you don't do it. As you're gaining knowledge and eventually it'll get easier in some areas. And then as you're expanding, you're growing, you're going to learn other things. And that's the whole point of building wealth, building a legacy, especially if you're the first one to do it. It's always going to be a learning curve. It's always going to be challenges. That doesn't mean you don't, you just meet the challenges and push forward. So that is my goal, to build generational wealth of people that come after me. And I have to take the good and the bad, the challenges and the easy stuff as well.
Yeah. So then I'm assuming then how were you raised? Like, what was your family, this dynamic and economic level, what directed you to this, and how did you even find out about real estate and that it was possible to build wealth with real estate? There's so many different things you could do, right? But how did your family dynamic, how was your upbringing? What did you learn at the dinner table?
So, well, my parents, they had me young, in their early 20s. So we lived in a house where we lived with, extended family, grandma and things of that nature. So from being in an apartment with my family to moving to a house with my extended family, there was home ownership, but things break, you have to fix it. It's a single family house as opposed to, well, if, this family member is making enough, get another house and we can use that to help fix this house. I was thinking of that young, into money, or if a family member passed away who owned a house, even if it was a portion of it, because my grandfather had a brownstone, so even if they were renting a portion, it could have went to the single family house to fix. And those were my thoughts at that age, but they weren't really listening to me. So now I'm paving the way, and I think because my cousins and other family members see I'm going this route, they have a lot of questions, and they're going that way too. They're trying to go through the NACA program or find a home. So it's more of us trying to go after home ownership and relying on what our ancestors did, for lack of a better word, generations before us already did.
So I love that. Your journey, even though you're doing it for whoever comes after you generationally for generational wealth, you're also affecting your current family members across the board, laterally, because they're seeing what you're doing and they're wanting to jump on board with that. So you're affecting their generations too. So that's great. It ripples across wide and goes deep. So I love that. Oh my goodness.
To build wealth with real estate? Are you all tapped out on YouTube University and ready to get help tailored to your specific situation and goals? Have you always known that you are a little different from the crowd, that you never liked following the status quo, and that you're just tired of living in mediocrity? You want to build wealth on your own terms outside of Wall Street?
Well, then maybe the Microfamily Mavericks mentorship program can help with that. It's a community where I handhold you through the process of buying your first small commercial multifamily building, because not everyone is ready for 100 units out the gate. Why multifamily? Because it gives your rental income a hedge against vacancy. Imagine what happens when your single family rental tenant leaves, right? And why commercial 5+ units? Because you have much more control over increasing the building's value in the commercial space, and then in turn, increasing your own net worth. Starting small is a stepping stone to so much more, because then you can tap that equity and buy another building and another and another, and you get the point. So increasing your cash flow and your ability to be job optional along the way. It's all a part of the journey. So if you think big, but you want to start small, and if you know multifamily real estate is a way for you to open the door to building a life of freedom, abundance, and legacy, but you just need someone to guide you step by step, and you want to be surrounded by other people on the same journey, doing the same thing, then just click the link in the show notes to find out a little bit more about the Microfamily Mavericks, and I look forward to potentially seeing you on the inside. So now back to the show. All right, you know what we did not talk about? Are you comfortable talking about any numbers?
Sure.
Okay. So you put almost 0% down. How much did you put down actually?
Actually, I had to buy it on points because the market, when I was looking, the rates were almost 7, I want to say. Now it's about 5, what I bought it down to. So I think I
Okay.
put 30,000 for that, and then I put about 30,000 down to hold the space, and that went towards and then NACA paid all of the rest, which was, I want to say, over $40,000.
In closing costs. Okay. So you paid, how much was the property?
That property is 830, I want to believe. Yeah, 830.
Okay. So
Mhm.
830 for duplex, and you paid 30,000 to buy down the points from 7 to 5, which makes sense. Buy down points, guys, means every point is a percentage. So if you're buying down the points, you can buy down your interest rate. If her interest rate was going to be 7%, then the monthly payment would be, a contingent to that 7%. It would be higher. If you don't want to wait for the market to correct and for the rates to come down, you can proactively put money to buy down your interest rate. So now your loan is going to be based off of a lower interest rate. So now she has a 5% loan. Just paying that 30,000 up front, it sounds like a lot, but over the life of the loan, you're going to save a lot more than that 30,000 that you put down on points, to buy down the points. Okay. So I love that. So now your mortgage is at 5%. It was an 830,000 purchase. You put down 30,000 for the points. Now, because the points is an optional thing, I'm not going to add that to like the required amount. And like you said, everybody's situation is a little bit different, so you might not even have done anything, but you did have to put down another 30, and then NACA did the other 40 for the down payment. Well, they basically did they did the rest of the down payment, and then the rest of the balance of the purchase price was the loan.
Yeah.
Okay. So with NACA, so then that was 30, that's a $70,000 down payment. What percentage is that, the down payment? I gotta do some math. Where's my calculator? 70,000 divided by 830. That's how you do it, right? 3. Oh, okay. So like a little, like 8%, 8.5%, down. Now with that mortgage payment, how much is your mortgage payment now with the 5% monthly?
I would say that also because I'm in the area that I'm surrounded by a beach, it's a little bit more have flood. So my mortgage,
Mm,
my actual like mortgage from the bank is like 4,000 and change, but because I have extra insurance, it's about 5,000 and change. So that's why I said everybody's situation is different depending on where you are. You might have to put nothing down and go straight in depending on what you have. But because of the route that I went, which seems always to be the difficult for me in my case,
mm-hmm,
but I'm
mm-hmm.
learning so much
Yeah.
about so many different things. But the points buy down, I believe you could talk to your CPA, your tax professional. You can actually claim that on your taxes. I would say there's so many different perks and things that you can do when you're a landlord. So
Oh.
definitely talk to your tax professional to see.
Yeah, actually, I bought down points when I refinanced because you could do it on a refinance or a purchase. I bought down points on my refinance, but I did not know that I could potentially do the tax write-off for buying down points.
So definitely
Huh.
talk to your tax professional and see if that's an option.
Yeah, I will.
Are
Okay.
you enjoying this episode? Then stop what you're doing right now. Head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review. It really helps our show get pushed to more people who are looking for the information that we're sharing here. We have to share the wealth. If you listen to us on YouTube, make sure you like the episode that you're listening to right now and subscribe to our channel. Then share the channel with somebody else. There are people out there looking for the information you're listening to right now. So make sure you share it with someone who you know needs it. Now, back to the show.
So if let's say your mortgage is about five and some change or whatever, um, now the setup of the duplex, what is it like? Unit? What's the unit mix?
Okay, so it's a 2 by 1, meaning 2 bedroom, 1 bath, and then it's a 3 by 2, meaning it's an upstairs.
Mm,
That is kind of a duplex within itself because it's upstairs, downstairs, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. So I stay
okay.
in the smaller one, which is a 2 bed, 1 bath, and then rent out the larger space, which gives me the maximum amount allowable
Of
for
rent.
right. And then it could be up to like 4 rooms. There's another room there, but I think I accepted a family. It depends on numbers also with CitiFEPS, depending on the family size, depends on the actual voucher that you
Yeah.
get and the bigger
Yeah.
the voucher.
So how many is in that family?
On that family, it's 2 adults and 3 children.
Okay. And what is the rent that you get from
Three
them?
3,643.
3,000. So 3,600. So even if your mortgage is about 5,000 and you're getting 3,600, that's still like the whole point of house hacking is to decrease or eliminate your housing expenses, right? So 5,000 minus 3,600 is about $1,400. So basically you're paying $1,400 for renting a 2 bedroom, 1 bath apartment, if you want to say it that way, which is like, if you're not in New York, guys, you don't know. A 2 bedroom, 1 bath to be in an area by the beach, like you're not. And do you see her background? To be in a nice apartment that looks like that, like you're not gonna get that for $1,400. So she's already. What was the last apartment you rented before you bought?
It was similar. It was 2 bed, 2 bath, and that was I want to say 2750, and that was pretty good because
Yeah,
it was an older building. It was another
yeah.
building down the
So
block.
you're already saving like $1,300 a month
Definitely.
owning this 2 bedroom, 1 bath, this the duplex because of the rent rather than paying 27. That's crazy. And even at that 1,300, you could save some of that for reserves if something happens with the building. Then you also have a little bit of wiggle room. It doesn't feel as constrictive with your monthly like expenses because you have that breathing room, you know? So I love this. I love this for you. I'm so glad that you went down this route and that you just pushed through and did what you needed to do. Like, I love it. Do you have any last parting words, words of encouragement, wisdom, or anything for someone out there who is looking to get started? Even if you don't have 30,000 or 60,000 or whatever down, there's options outside of that. You still should explore the NACA program because it's a great opportunity and start with the multifamily and house hack that way. But yeah, anyway, any words of wisdom or advice, the last words that you have for everyone?
I mean, I kind of probably said and done so many times, but if I can do it, you can do it as well. Um, Definitely. Just pull yourself by your bootstraps in this environment. Definitely keep that mindset going. I guess you can say, don't let anybody get in your ear, silence out the naysayers, and get it done.
Oh yeah, just get it done. I love that. Now, we do have a last segment that we normally do with all the guests. Like we ask everybody the same questions. So this is called Digest with the Guest because we have to digest the information because it's so juicy and morsel, like kind of tidbits of information that we have to have time for it to slowly like digest into our system and get into our brain cells and all of that stuff. Okay. So you just won $500 million in the lottery.
Mhm.
What's the first thing you do? And then what's the biggest thing you buy? So 2 parts.
First thing I do is clear up any debt. Um, the second thing, I wouldn't say buy because I do have an account, I guess for lack of a better term, infinite banking. I put money in paid up additions, probably a good chunk of that, let my money work for me, and then think about what I can buy. Kind of get myself financially in a position first to make sure that money is increasing before I start spending.
Hmm. I love that's how I am too. But like if you had to spitball a dream purchase, what would be that big thing that you normally wouldn't go after?
Maybe a round trip ticket to maybe multiple countries in Africa. I wanted to go to Giraffe Manor in 2020. I had to cancel because
Oh,
of COVID. So I definitely would go back there. That's where the giraffes come and
yeah, you could feed them. I'm scared of the tongues. They look so long and black. Don't lick me. I'll put it out right there. Like, but don't let your tongue touch me. Ugh, ugh. It's so cute. I want to do it, but now it's so okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, it's okay. Seychelles and Mauritius. So I
Okay.
definitely travel.
Nice.
Mhm.
Love it. Love it. Travel experiences. That's my thing too. Like, I would rather spend the money on experiences other than non-asset things. Like, so anyway, in the game of Monopoly, you played Monopoly before?
Yes, a long time
Okay.
ago. Yes, I played it.
Okay. Boardwalk, which is the most expensive property, or Baltic, which is the cheapest property. Which one would you buy first in your strategy to win the game and why?
I mean, all the odds into to getting either one. I mean, you can get Baltic and build on top of it rather quickly. Get your money together to get Boardwalk, and then you're not really spending your money. So using the profit from that to buy the other. So I'd say that's what I'm.
Nice. I like that strategy. All right. What does wealth mean to you?
Wealth means time freedom, being job optional, waking up when I want to wake up, just enjoying life with different experiences where you're not really bogged down by a W-2. So that's definitely the plan, getting to that. But it's also wealth of knowledge, making sure you make good decisions to get to that destination.
Okay. Um, Now we ask each guest to create a question for the next guest. So, and it could be anything, it could be business, personal, funny, serious, it doesn't matter. I'm going to ask you the question that was asked for you or left for you, and then during that, I'll let you think about the question you want to leave for the next guest. So, the last guest asked, "Who are you?"
Hmm. Who am I? I'm Jennifer Humphrey. I'm a child of God, and I am a visionary. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an educator for life, and I want to change the world.
I love that. Yes. All right. So, do you have a question for the next guest?
Yes. The question is, how do you balance risk versus legacy?
Oh, I like that. All right, let me speak that into here. How do you balance risk versus legacy? Question mark. Perfect. That's a great question. Okay. I want to see how the next person answers that one. All right. So yes, thank you so much, Jen, for joining us and dropping all the information and knowledge on NACA program and CitiFEPS and vouchers and just how to just like grit through it and keep going and push through the difficult to get to the other side in light of like staying aligned with your goals, right? How can listeners get connected with you if they want to reach out or have a discussion, get some, talk your ear off or whatever they want to do?
So me and social media, we have this hate-love relationship, but I'm gonna get better. But you can definitely reach me on LinkedIn. I think I provided that link. I also started a group and a couple of groups on Facebook for teachers. It's called Retire Teachers in Real Estate. And then there's another group about women in real estate, investing in yourself, businesses. So you can reach me there and we can chat.
Perfect. Okay, and we will have the links to those groups and to her LinkedIn profile in the show notes. And also we will have links to a couple of other things that Jennifer graciously provided me. She sent me a NACA home ownership sites, or home ownership for home ownership programs by state. So you can look at this whole list and find the home ownership programs in your state if you are interested in pursuing NACA as a vehicle for you to get your first property. And then also there's a NACA home ownership prep checklist. So like all the tasks, like a list of all the things that you need to prepare, and whether it's for single family or multifamily and what it is that you need to provide. So all of that will just help you get prepared so that once you review those lists and you go to these home ownership, you kind of have an idea already of what to expect, and like managing expectations, like Jen said from the beginning. So thank you so much for providing these resources. I will have those also linked in the show notes. So for anyone listening, I hope you take advantage. I hope you reach out to Jennifer or join one of her Facebook groups and get started on your journey.
Definitely. Thank you. This was fun. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Jen, for coming. All right, everyone. Bye, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Did you love this episode of Share the Wealth Show? Be sure to connect with Nicole by following her on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook. If you picked up any of the gems that were dropped by today's guest, make sure you not only put them in your bag, but if you know of someone who would benefit from this information, don't keep it to yourself. Share the wealth and make sure to leave us a rating and review. We'll see you for next week's episode. Subscribe so you'll be notified.